Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
And we're not flipping pancakes either.
No pancake flipping today.
No siree, Bob.
I'm on a no wheat binge.
Oh, truly?
And I got to tell you, I feel a lot better.
Uh-huh.
Just cutting out wheat.
Huh.
You know, I'm not like on a diet. I just was kind of like going through a little bit of a dredge there where it seemed like every day was getting harder and harder to go through and all. And I had... went to visit an old friend that I grew up with. And she's younger than I am. And she said that she had a celiac disease. And my mother's got that.
Oh.
But I don't always listen to my mother.
No. Relatives, family, parents, no.
So she started telling me her story. And she's like, you should just try it for a week. I'm like, okay. Just like stop. She wanted me to do gluten. But to be honest with you, there's two problems with that. One, I need glasses and can't read the shit on the back of bottles, and I don't want to admit that. The other is that I don't want to go look up all the words because I don't understand all that stuff on the back of a bottle, and when I read it, it's just like foreign language to me.
Yeah.
So I just said, well, I could at least, I know what weed is. I can stop eating toast with my eggs in the morning, right?
Weed can be evil.
Yeah.
Weed can be evil.
And I feel much better. I've been just, kind of just paying attention to just sticking with meat and protein and there you go. So, now that I got that off my chest, I have no idea why we're talking about that.
Bill.
Here we are at episode number 154, not about Bill's diet.
No, Bill, I have gluten-free pancakes.
Oh, yeah, here we go. 15 reasons why real estate investors crack.
Crack?
Crack.
Oh, jeez.
When most people think of real estate investing, these... Oh, I can't read my own writing. Let me try that again.
We're going to get those glasses, Bill.
When most people, well, part of it is I got the mic in my face. So
yeah.
When most people think of real estate investing these days, they think about flipping, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Bill, you did call it flipping houses.
Yeah, exactly. And because of the reality TV shows and so many people are talking about it, it seems like people are like flipped out about flipping, right?
Yeah.
So, this once thought of late night TV scam now has become popular in the mainstream for most people. Because when I first started, it was like, you do what? I didn't tell anybody because it was like, oh, you bought Carlton Sheets course? That's a scam. Right? $300 I paid for it.
Yeah, I did. I bought the same one. I
wish I could buy real estate courses for like that.
Yeah.
With all this book and the CDs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, it wasn't CDs, it was cassette tapes.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Right?
Sure.
I wish I could buy that stuff for $300 now, but you can't anymore. Unfortunately, most new investors believe there's more drawbacks than benefits and conjure up all kinds of self-made barriers that stop them before they even get started. When in truth, we can teach you a better way. We do that. Okay, especially after, my email this morning that I was writing before we started the podcast is all about that, man. It's like, I can't believe the amount of people that come in from all corners of the earth, of Connecticut, to that meetup and tell us what we've done to their lives. I'm speechless.
How about out of state?
Yeah, all over. People that listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Right? So, today I would like to talk about some of these myths, mysteries, and strangenesses that ball and chain these people and they never get going, right? To the path that could actually change their life. And one of the things I was writing in my email this morning is that even though like you said, you've told me before, like, well, real estate's not my passion. Music's my passion. But I could tell you one thing. Real estate can pay for your passion.
Oh yeah, for
sure. And you don't need to you don't need to be like me and dive in and just completely surround yourself and immerse yourself in every aspect of it. You don't have to be that way. I'm unique that way. I'm a freak that way. You could just do pieces and parts of it. I mean, it's like the stock market. Like I'm way out of my league. What is it? The NASDAQ?
Yeah.
What is that?
The stock exchange.
So the NASDAQ is one index of many, right? It just happens to be the most popular because that's what they put on TV, right? But how many businesses is that made up of? So it's something like 500 businesses or something like that?
No, there's a top five. I think there's the top 500 and the other 5 or 50 or thousands.
So
thousands.
How do you know which stock?
Yeah, you don't.
Right?
So you hire a guy to pay the guy, and you give him the profits after you share it with him.
So real estate is like this to some degree, because what happens is you kind of like pick the stock or the one that you think you like or you've done research on, and you go have at it. Well, real estate's the same way. You don't have to do all real estate. You just pick one piece or one part that you understand, and you go do it.
Yeah, see, that's what people don't know. They think it's just you buy the house, you renovate it, you sell it.
Right.
That's when you say flip.
Right.
Now, when you say flip, you mean any way you can buy and resell it.
We're going to talk about that, yeah.
Sure, I won't tip the hand, but
so before we get started, I want to do something a little bit unique this morning, which will take 2 minutes, and I'm sorry if you think that we're chatting and like not getting to the content, but I would personally like to thank Tony and Nelson. Is that who you said their names were?
Tony and Nelson.
Tony and Nelson, because we did our live meetup in Connecticut last night, Wallingford, Connecticut, and these guys drove from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we didn't
know.
They
listened to this podcast, and we had no idea they were in the crowd, and he was hammering me with questions.
He'd be raising, next!
Yeah, and in fact, the meetup got distorted because of it, actually.
Well, they started talking amongst themselves and helping each other. You know, up the front, like, hey, who's running this Zoom?
Yeah. And what happened was the end of the meetup, I lost track of time. I looked at my watch, and it was 25 minutes to 9, and I'm thinking, I'm a little behind, but let's do some deal structure, and then I'll kind of close up. Yeah. And then people started leaving. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And then I looked at my watch, and I realized it was 25 minutes after 9.
Babysitters.
And it was because, totally, They had, because usually I end by 9 or quarter after 9, right?
No.
No. Well, I asked them if I can end because the questions and the amount of interaction, and these guys are like really like doing it, and they come into the meetup because they're like, they have deals, they have things going on, and they want help.
Well, they're asking you details too. Well, if you do this, what do you do about that?
Right.
It's not just how it works. Just like I got very specific questions on how you do stuff. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't notice on the forums when they came in from Pennsylvania. They said, "Well, we have to leave now. We have a long drive." I go, "It's like 9:15." I go, "Where are you going?" Like Pennsylvania. Wait a minute, Bill. Wait, these guys. So we had to give them a little prize.
So the other thing is so that prompted us to take a look at the invitation, the registration forms, and then you guys realized this morning we have people coming from New York. We've had people coming from Massachusetts. I think the farthest away is Tennessee. I've had people from Virginia. Yeah. So I think that
they drive up.
That is absolutely blows my mind that somebody would come that far to want to be part of this group. Mm-hmm. So that's kudos to you and I. For making sure that we're here every week for them. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but we work hard for that. So I want to say thank you for that.
We work so hard we miss meals.
Yeah. Yeah, we did that yesterday. Last thing I'd like to say before we get started is I want to do a shout out to Steven in Florida who sent me a support ticket. And he has some things going on down there, and I've been helping him on support. And he asked if I could talk about him. So, Stephen, here you are. This is your moment of glory.
The slice of paradise, Florida.
So, welcome.
Land of sunshine.
He's down there. Do you know where, Emma? I think it was
coast to coast, Florida.
I think it's Orlando because
he just wanted in Florida.
Yeah, I think it's Orlando because I go to Tampa and he told me he'd be willing to meet me. But Stephen, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you that if you want to close a deal, you have to do your research. See, Stephen, you offered to buy me lunch. right? And you offered to meet with me and you talk about real estate. I get that all the time, Stephen. Sorry.
No, Stephen, fishing and cigars.
Yeah. Ybor City in Tampa.
Oh.
It's a cigar street.
Yeah.
There's restaurant after restaurant, cigar shop after cigar shop. That's like heaven. So, Stephen, send the support ticket back with, I'll meet you at Ybor City in Tampa.
People left Cuba
Then
to go
you have-
there to start
then
cigars.
you
and
have
stuff.
my attention.
That's like Cuban cigar street. Yeah.
Just kidding, but it's a point well taken. All right, let's start. Let me get my voice back. Let's start with, I want to reveal a few things that TV stars don't really talk about. Okay? So there's, in my head, two distinct, type of ways to flip houses. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, because until I get it hammered in everybody's head, it's not done. All right. So the first way is that you buy ugly houses where you fix them and you sell them. You buy them, fix them, sell them.
1, 2, 3, all at once.
Yeah.
All in a row.
One profit. One profit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to know. Okay. And we're going to get into these a little bit before we get to the 15 things, right? Number 2. So that's a conscious decision. That's what TV does. You buy an ugly house in a pretty neighborhood, with equity, because you buy it at a deep discount. The added value you bring to this property is the renovation. Okay. So no offense, no disrespect meant, no contempt, anything like that.
Because we do them.
But any common contractor can do that. Okay. So all you need is an inflated economy, meaning that appreciation is constantly setting in. So, if you buy the house in January, by the time you get to June, appreciation made it go up. Okay. So as long as the contractor did a good job fixing the kitchen and making it look pretty, I mean, it's kind of like bricklaying type stuff, right? I mean, it's like, not to be disrespectful to a bricklayer, but it's like, once you learn how to do it, it's mundane. Okay. All you need to do is have the environment conducive to doing that, and it happens. So in other words, anybody can do that. You could put the money together, because money guys will give it to you. And as long as so here you go. A lot of flippers think that they're clever, making money, when really it's the economy boosting them along. Right? It's like the jet fuel in their engines.
Yeah.
Is really the economy. Right? Now, they might get good at finding some of those buyers. They might be clever at amassing, 2 or 3 houses a month. They might be clever with contractors and buying materials. But I'm going to tell you, that is not a sustainable, consistent business. It stays for a few years and then it goes away.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. Okay. And I only know that because I've been doing it 15 years and I've been through a few cycles. Yeah,
when the cycle changes, if things turn down, now you can't sell it.
Now, you could make hay while the sun is shining. There's nothing wrong with that. But just don't expect it to be a career. Most think they can. Okay. Now, number 2, which is pretty houses, which is where you use creative financing, right? And pretty much the creative financing produces, I believe, up to 12 profits. Okay. And we covered that in episode number 136. So if you want to know how to make 12 profits off of one house, we cover it in detail in a 60-minute podcast on how you can make 12 profits. Now, I don't know about you, Peter, but, I put my time in every week. I work my 75, 80 hours. You know that. Emma knows that. You're around me. You see it. You see the pressures I'm under. Sometimes I have a lot of money. Sometimes I have none. Like, I can't buy a tank of gas. Okay. I mean, that's how it is. That's just my life, right? It's all good. That's why I do what I do. Okay. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm some guru with millions of dollars. So yeah, I got some assets, but you know what? When I go to the gas station, I can't put the asset in the gas pump and say, give me a tank full of gas.
Right.
Okay. So that's what happens. I will tell you that I thoroughly, absolutely am one of the laziest guys on planet Earth. If I could work once and make 12 profits Why would I not want to do that? Where if we have a property we're looking to buy right now, or we're closing on right now, and you and I are in heavy negotiation, convincing one another that we don't need to do this $40,000 renovation. Mm-hmm. I actually talked to one of my guys at the meetup last night, and I think we're just going to sell it to him and just make some wholesale money and just go move on.
Yeah.
Now, do I need money right now? Yeah. Right now is one of those times when the checkbook is empty.
Yep.
Right? But what's my time worth versus the money? Do we spend the summer doing a renovation, chasing around contractors to make an extra $15,000? Now, you may think that $15,000 is a lot of money, but we're also working on multifamilies. We have some, bigger units.
But there's another angle to that. If you do it quickly, like we were planning,
right,
you can do it quickly another time, and you're still where you were. Just find another one like that. Or just do something else with the money. Move it quick.
So here's what happens. Okay. So if you're good with credit, if you have good credit, which by the way, nowadays credit is not like it used to be, because it used to be if you just paid your bills on time, you had good credit. That's not how it works nowadays. Now they have this thing called a utilization rate. So the creditor takes a look at, well, if you have a credit line of $10,000, how much are you using? If you're using 3,000 of it, of the 10,000, your utilization rate is 30%.
They like that.
If you're using all 10 grand, your utilization rate is 100%.
They
feel like if your utilization rate is high, you don't manage your money correctly. That's a lie, but that's what they feel like. If they took a look at my life and realized, like you and I whack our credit lines all the time to go make 10 or 20 grand, like we're doing it right now with your credit line. We're whacking the crap out of it to buy a house, but a month later it comes back. So it's a lie.
It comes back, it doubles itself.
Right.
So who's smart now?
The problem is that the bankers are assuming that you and I are using the credit to buy liabilities, not assets.
Oh, that's the point. Yeah.
Right. So they're assuming you and I use the credit lines and do all that stuff for assets, not liabilities.
That's crazy. I buy my liabilities cash.
Right.
The guitar's cash, the vacation. I don't have credit on crap like that. If I don't have the money, I don't go do crap like that.
Right.
But I learned from Carlton Sheets, there's good debt and bad debt.
Right.
So I buy good debt.
Right.
And double my money and go home.
Right.
And do it again.
Good. So if you have good credit and you're willing to guarantee loans and put up personal assets, then number one is a good thing. Even with hard money lenders and all that kind of stuff, them putting the money up, okay, you're still personally guaranteeing and you're still in the deal. So if you're cool with that, then number one is a great way to go. Number one, which is buying ugly houses, fixing them and flipping them. There's a lot of people that have made millions of dollars off of that, and I don't want to discredit that at all. Because what we do with creative financing is not as easy as that. It's not as easy as finding a house, buying, I mean, even though it's the hardest way to do it, it's still the most most conducive for the amateur, because there's enough people around that you can figure out how to do it. By the way, most guys sell those courses and all that kind of stuff, and that's what they do. Okay.
Yep.
But if your financial past is a little bit colorful,
you're too kind,
and you may not have the ability then to do some of the things we're talking about, then you may want to talk about the second way, which is buying pretty houses and getting these 12 profit centers and paying somebody monthly until they can get paid off.
Yep.
Right? So when you do this, that's what we call creative financing, which simply works better than any other strategy as far as I'm concerned, because it gives you the most freedom and most flexibility with both your money and your time. Okay? And I don't know, and I'm doing this today because I want to be very clear. I don't think I've been this clear about the two of them. I mean, I dabble around with it, but I wanted to be very specific. In about 2 minutes, we're going to get to the list.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
I just want to make sure that we understand this stuff. Okay. So just to clarify what I'm talking about with renovations, like I said, you're going to need to have the hard money lender and the cash. You're going to have to find contractors. You have to have insurance. You have to have, sometimes permits, all the legal type stuff to do that, right? Which is a chore within itself, right? When you want to do buy and hold, which is what we're doing some of now, when you want to do buy and hold, you need to have some money and some credit and a bunch of time to manage the places. And I know that there's guys out there that are like, yeah, well, you get a management company and you can manage them. Well, who's going to manage the management company?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not passive. You're not going to buy a 100-unit apartment building. First of all, only because we're working on stuff like that. A 100-unit apartment building, the type of lending you're going to get, the lender's going to want to know if you have experience with that. They're not just going to give you $2 or $3 million and just expect that you're going to manage it and it's going to be
good
okay.
luck, buddy.
So
because they don't want it back.
As much as the gurus, that's right. As much as the gurus will talk about how you can be hands off, I don't know about that. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be as hands on as if you have a 2-family or a 3-family and you're collecting rents, but you are going to have to put some work there. So the buy and hold strategy, you need to have the down payment amount. And then you need to have the confidence of the banker to give you the money, because most of that is with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And when they start lending, they love lending on that stuff. They throw money at those kind of deals. But those deals have to be set up correctly. They have to be with some experienced people, so you're going to need to have partners with you. It's a little bit more involved.
Sure.
It's a bigger payday, but it's a little bit more involved. Breaking into that industry is not as easy as breaking into single-family houses.
That's for sure.
So that alone, the buy and hold, having to deal with, the rents and all that stuff could be emotional and some challenging, mental, stuff for kind of skinny deals, when you start getting on 100 units, 200 units, they're $50 profits per door. And that's because you got 100 of them under one roof. You don't need to make, like a single family house, you got to make a couple $100 a door because you only have one roof. And it's like there's one furnace and you know what I mean? There's one income, there's one of everything.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a little different. Now with creative financing, it simply works better because it gives you the flexibility with your time and your money and allows you to cash flow without all the headaches. Right? So, unfortunately, you may think that you need to master all the techniques and be like me to do that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And you're right, you do need to have an education, but you don't need it to start. Okay? In the beginning, doing a deal is not as much of a barrier as most people think. Okay? The barrier, and I spoke about this in the meetup last night, the barrier is not the deal. The barrier is finding a motivated seller that's going to throw a house at you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be a barrier. Now, we talk about in our 150 some odd podcast, we talk about when people call you, there's a prospect, which is a motivated seller. There's a suspect that is a non-motivated seller. And there's a deliberator that's kind of on the fence, deliberating or thinking about that can be converted one way or the other. Now, I'm really good with those deliberators because I have a lot of sales background. I have a lot of skills on closing the deals and the deal structuring. So what I'm saying is yes, the training will come in if you want to work with deliberators. But the truth of the matter is if you just go through enough names and talk to enough people, you will have a prospect that is fully motivated and will literally throw the house at you.
No, that's so true. I mean, the first guy I got, I could really feel it, and it was simply that anything I asked, he said, "Yep." Well, I can't pay for a couple of months. Okay. And I'm only going to pay your principal interest, principal payments, no interest. Okay. Yep.
Right.
Yep. He just said yes to everything.
Right.
So, I mean, how hard is that? But you have to find that guy.
Right. So you don't need to have a Yale education to do this deal. Right. With you didn't need a Yale education, right? All you had to do was find the motivated seller who wanted to relieve themselves of the house, not the debt. They're not desperate. They're not like, out, down and out. They'll tell you that. I'm not one of those desperate guys. They may not even give you a discount, right? Mm-hmm. But they want the house to be handled. They don't want the responsibility of the house, whether it be the payments, the maintenance, the yard, the
thinking about it.
Yeah.
They don't want to think about it anymore. They don't want to have to wake up and think about the house.
They want to move on.
You talk about peace of mind. You get insurance. You get the house insurance. You get choice warranty insurance, car, blah, blah. But you don't want to have to worry about it. Right. It's just like, just wake up and it's fine. Right.
So it's the other shoe dropping. They don't want to have to worry about, they made this deal and then 3 months later the other shoe drops and they get sucked back into the house saga.
Yep.
Right. So once you have one of these deals, believe me, because I've seen it happen many times with my students and clients, mm-hmm. my coaching clients. Once you get a deal, you figure it out. There's no way you don't figure it out. Okay. And even though you worry about the mechanics of it, I promise you it's been done a lot. Somebody knows how to do it. For Christ's sakes, just go get a lawyer and they'll help you.
I always think it's funny. You're in real estate? Yeah, go outside and look.
Yeah.
There's houses every place, apartments, everybody's buildings. Somebody's buying them, somebody's selling them. What are they, smarter than you? Come on.
So if you chose to have me be your mentor, the first thing you could do is go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff and just go watch my damn videos. There's 5 or 6 of them there. And people have bought lots of houses off of those videos because they send me support tickets on the deals and I see it. And I'm not lying to you. And even if I am lying to you, I can't be 100% lying to you, even if I'm embellishing it, which I'm not. In fact, if anything, I'm curbing it because I have a lot more people that are doing deals than I talk about. I should be flaunting all of the success stories, which is something we're talking about, because I don't do that for privacy reasons. I don't want to go out and flaunt people's stuff for privacy reasons.
So that's why they made initials.
Well, it doesn't matter. I just don't. I mean, if you don't believe that this works, then just shut the damn podcast off and go away. I'm good.
I have an opinion on that.
Oh, boy.
When people, no, it's okay. It won't even be funny. When people are concerned about getting involved in anything, I don't think they mistrust that thing. I think they don't trust themselves.
Right. They don't understand.
Or just trust that they could understand,
right.
That they could do it, that there wouldn't be some part that'd be so terrible that it would stop them. Because, any one piece of a chain can break.
Right.
So, but I think you have to trust yourself and believe in yourself with your own 2 eyes, listen. So I study education. I'm an educator. There's a substitute for knowledge.
Yep.
You look at the situation with your own 2 eyes and you just go into the area, observe, and just... Yep. Get into the space and just look around and just use your own 2 eyeballs, ask questions, and just look and see what you see.
Right.
There's nothing terribly new. It's houses.
Right.
And trust yourself.
All that is true. All I'm saying right now is that you could go to my free stuff page and do exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or worst case scenario, you go to our how to buy a loan without a course, how to buy real estate without a loan, and it's $500.
Mm-hmm.
That's the flagship thing. Okay, good. Blah, blah, blah. We're not here to sell. So you want to make, how much is $500 compared to making $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Once you get a deal, just go buy the course. And it's all right there. All the paperwork is there. I had somebody email me this morning. They got a subject to deal, and they're like, "Where's the paperwork? Is it in the How to Buy Real Estate Without a Loan course?" Yeah, it's all there. Mm-hmm. Not only is the paperwork there, but I have videos to show you. Fill in this blank, fill in that blank. Here's how you do it. It's like the only other thing that I can do for that dude is to take his hand and actually draw the name in the blank. You know what I mean? That's the only other thing I could do. Or send me the document and I'll fill it out for you for free. That's the only other thing I could do. Because it's like all there. It's like 1, 2, 3. It's like I can't tell you how many people have made a shit ton of money off that course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go over the list. You ready?
Yeah.
The 15 reasons why real estate investors crack. So here we go. Number 1, They don't use simple techniques to find enough people who want to sell the way an investor should buy. So if you know how to do a lease option deal, are you contacting new people enough that you can find a lease option person? Here's a classic example. If you know you want to do a lease option, then go to the lease option swimming pool and get one of those people out of that pool.
Mm-hmm. And where do you find those?
Wouldn't it make sense that if somebody's renting an apartment or renting something, that would be where you would go?
Like they're renting it out.
They're renting it out. So you see a sign that says for rent, you call the dude up and say, hey, I'm interested in 1, 2, 3, whatever. What is it? Oh, it's a 2-bedroom, one, blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. Would you be interested in renting that to me with an option to buy? What do you mean? Well, it's a 3-family house. Okay. Well, would you be interested in renting it to me with an option to buy? By the way, the worst, absolute, positive, most definitely worst thing that can happen is he says no.
And you look down at your body. You're not bleeding. You're not bruised.
The policeman didn't come arrest you. You're not going to court.
Yeah.
You're not going to jail. You're not getting hung. You're not getting executed. Nothing.
And he doesn't even say, how dare you ask? He might say, like, I've thought of it, but not yet.
You'd be surprised of the response.
Yeah.
So
I could do that?
So if you know you want to buy renovated houses, this is hard to do. I've had one person tell me they found a list, but I'm telling you, the best place to buy renovated houses that nobody else can find is probate. But it's work because you got to figure out where the probate. There's no list for probate. You're not going to a broker's list, and if a broker's telling you they got a list,
yeah, I've seen him say that. It's not.
No. I've not seen them work. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So just match your message with your market. You know what I mean? We look for apartments and multifamilies right now. So where we go? We go to out of state owners. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to do slot deals, then go buy a list with people that have only bought in the last 3 years and don't have a lot of equity, and you can buy lists with equity amounts attached to them.
Yeah, so they'd be highly leveraged. So if they're in trouble, a slot deal would work. You don't know if they're in trouble.
So if you know how to do a slot and you want to look for those, then go look for one of those.
Yeah.
And by the way, you go to places like, I don't know, the first one comes to my mind is melissadata.com. Go to melissadata.com. You can buy, they're a broker. You can buy that list there. Mm-hmm. There's a few new guys out there. What's his name? Terry something. Who's selling software. I have some of it. It's whatever. Okay. Number 2. So that was number 1. Mm-hmm. So number 1 is they don't use simple techniques. Like you don't need to get complicated.
I caught that.
This.
Simple techniques.
Simple techniques to be able to do it week after week and be consistent. Okay. Doesn't have to be difficult. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you want a simple technique, go to our website, flippinghouses4rookies.com, top side, courses, and there's attracting motivated sellers there. It shows you how to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay. 2, don't have a marketing machine that talks to people who are selling houses in enough volume. So there's one thing that you get out there, like I'm talking about with the first one, having simple techniques, but it's another thing to have the machine running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like I'll give you a classic example. We were just talking about this the other day. I was supposed to talk about it in a meetup last night and completely blew it the last hour. I'll kick myself in the ass for that for a month, I'm sure, but that's just me. I didn't talk about texting.
Oh,
but there are softwares out there that you could do texting, right? I'm not going to name any of them because there's a bunch of them, but you could do commercial texting, right? Where you upload a spreadsheet to the text service, right? And you can text people like for sale by owners, like we do, and ask them if they're interested in selling their house. Well, here's the amazing thing: almost every one of those softwares, okay, have a scheduling text on there. So what I was telling you the other day is that if you want to do follow-up, now this is just having a marketing machine. So you talk to somebody and they're like, well, I'm not ready, but I will be in a month. So how do you remember?
So in the system, you can tag it that it automatically sends a response?
Don't even need to do that. Just if you have any kind of software that will text, go into the software, add their phone number, and in 28 days from now in the scheduling system say, hey, what happened? Did you sell your house? Right? And they'll text you back and say, no, I haven't sold it yet. And you'll have to go figure out who it is. I mean, that's, if you do it right, it depends on what you use. Okay. We use text magic. Okay. So you go in there and you just figure out whose name it was. Right. Point is you set it and forget it. That's a simple technique on doing follow-up in today's generation. Used to be email, but now people don't pay as much attention to email, but they pay attention to text.
Well, your phone's in your hand all the time.
Right. All right. Makes sense?
Sure.
So that's part of a marketing
nice,
machine.
though, the automated. You just put the message in, and 28 days go by, and it pops it out for you.
Yeah, and then if they're interested, they'll send you back. If not, then you don't need to put your attention on it.
Yeah, if they're interested, they call you back. Oh yeah, 28 days ago. Oh, yeah, yay.
I didn't sell. Oh, I forgot about that guy. Oh, I should give him a call and see what he says.
Yeah.
But they have a different perspective now because it's a month later.
And they still have it.
Okay, and number 3, in most cases, have not taken the time to really understand how to pre-screen callers to see if they should spend time with the seller or not. And often waste a lot of time with no results. The classic one that I see all the time is I've had coaching clients that will call me up and say, or tell me that they have, I got this motivated guy, he's really interested. And then I find out that he's got a $280,000 piece of property that he's asking $300,000 for, and he's motivated for his way of selling. He's motivated to talk to you because you're the only one that's calling him.
Yeah. He wants his $300,000 now.
He wants his $300,000 in 30 days.
Yep.
And he's motivated for that. So when I say you need to find a motivated seller, the definition of a motivated seller is they are flexible. They don't have plan B.
I like when you say they feel they need some help.
Yeah.
And they're open to the help.
Right. And being creative. Okay. So what happens is most people don't vet that out early enough, and they end up in the house. So, a classic example is somebody's got a job, right? And the guy wants to meet at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. So they'll make arrangements to have the kids picked up at school, leave work a little bit early, whatever.
Go in early.
Yeah, whatever they need to do to go have this appointment. They get out to the appointment. If they didn't vet the person correctly on the telephone, and they're in the house for 5 minutes, and the guy's like, I don't want to do terms. No, I want all cash. And you're like, I went through all of that for what?
Sure.
I could have done that on the phone.
Yeah.
And until this happens to you, you won't think what I'm telling you is even a scenario. But I'm going to tell you that is the most common. Okay, and it's kind of heartbreaking. It's like a balloon deflator. Right? Okay. Good. Number 4, which should really be number 1, never pick up the phone and dial it.
Never pick up the phone and dial it?
Right. They spend too much time doing research and not doing what they need to do to actually pull a deal off.
They should be picking up the phone and dialing.
Yeah, never pick up the phone and dial it. They don't pick up the phone. So you're supposed to be calling for sale by owners, right? And they don't pick the phone up and do it. Okay, I don't know what else to do, Peter. I think for $7 we sell. I don't know if this is deal hunting. What were you telling me last night? What? FSBO for sale by FSBO script explained. So for $7, really? It's not enough money. That's what the real problem is. For $7, you can go on our website and go to courses, and for $7, I show you how to use the free script that we give you. I show you how to use it and how to be successful with it. So if you pick up the phone enough times, I have a coaching client that chased me for 2.5 months that just signed up. He's 18 years old.
Yeah.
And he's knocking it dead. This kid is texting and calling, and he is a ball of fire. Couldn't be on the coaching call Monday night because he had to go to his graduation.
From high school.
From high school.
High school, not college, high school.
Right.
And he's got no back off. He just does it.
Right. He just reads the script. We did listen to a recording on a coaching call last week. Yeah. It was grueling. It was crude, but he just read the words.
When you start doing it, it's not going to start easy. You can only practice so much.
So just pick up the phone and call someone. Number 5. People, you ever hear the saying, "Don't shoot from the hip"?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, just don't make things up. Just don't do things and not plan ahead and just see if it works out by winging it.
Right. So we say, "Don't shoot from the lip."
The lip.
So here's what happens. Very many people go into a house thinking that whatever the seller says, they're going to figure out what to say.
Mm.
They're going to shoot from the lip.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go in prepared with the right things to say. And I say the persuasive things to say, but people think that persuasive is like some tricky way that you're going to steal somebody's house or something like that. That's not what it's meant. Persuasive just means it's a positive, good answer that will shift their reality a little bit. And they'll be like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Or, "That's a good idea."
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's some way they can meet their ends.
Right.
Accomplish their own goals.
So the word is enlightenment. Enlightenment means that you come up a notch or two on the topic that you're talking about because you get more educated.
Yeah.
Right? That's enlightenment. Okay? What is the clock saying? I can't see it.
41.
Okay, thank you. All right, good. So a lot of people don't script themselves. Okay. Now I don't have all my scripts because you have an opening call, then you have a closing call, and then you have a deal meeting. That's the way it works, and that you get all that stuff in for not a lot of money. I mean, half my stuff is like under $100. So I think for deal hunting is like $77, and it goes over all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. Get a script, practice it, at least try. How
about just practice?
Try.
I always say just practice. Like, well, I think you said it too. Like, call somebody in San Francisco,
right? And
just to practice,
right?
And just waste a few. Just like, let me screw up a few,
right?
Let me see what I can. Let me see what I do wrong, right? Let me just see what I got,
right?
And then when I get wrong, I'll go work on that. And then when I feel reasonable after 5-10 calls in San Francisco and Texas, then I'll call Connecticut or wherever you actually live. Now, if you live in San Francisco, call Connecticut.
Right. So, number 6. People get stuck on, how do I do the paperwork? Right? In their head. They don't have paperwork to do. They don't even have a deal yet.
Before they look at it.
Right.
I love that one. I don't know how to do the paper. Did you look at it? No. Did you read it? No. Okay, well.
So one of the things I explained at the meetup last night is that when you call and talk to somebody with a for sale by owner script, what you're doing is you're on a fishing expedition. Mm-hmm. So all you're doing is looking for someone that has a little bit of a spark that you can pour gasoline on. Mm-hmm. Right? So you got a little bit of a spark. That spark is they're willing to receive help. They're willing to hear your offer. They have a little bit of flexibility, or they're giving you the indication that there is some flexibility there. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's an opening call. That's the product of the opening caller. You then go into the closing call, which could be the same call, but that's where I use the prospect-suspect form. And there, what I'm doing is I'm qualifying the person to see if they are motivated. Are they flexible? Are they willing to hear my deal? Now, I'm not looking to make a deal. I'm not like Brian and Lynette Wolf or Ron LeGrand where I'm trying to make the deal over the phone, which is possible. I've done that before. Yeah,
but I also heard people then take them home from the seminar. They go to the guy's house 2 days later, and it's gone. So it was like a little excited on the phone.
Right. But So my point is the purpose of the prospect-suspect form and actually getting all the house information is to qualify the seller to see if they have some flexibility and they're willing to listen to you when you get in the house. Mm-hmm. Now, does it matter if they say the house is worth $160 and it's only worth $140? Not at that point.
You haven't bought it yet.
Right. Not at that point. So the next thing that happens is the deal meeting, which is where you go out and look at the house and you qualify the house. Right? So now you've done the opening call, you've done the closing call, where, the opening call is you went on a fishing expedition, you found someone, now you do a closing call, you find out how motivated, or see if they're motivated, or at least motivated enough for you to go sit in their house so you don't get out there and waste your time. Mm-hmm. Then you go out and you look at the house in the deal meeting and you qualify the house. Now that all of that is done, it's time to make an offer. So now what you do is you take the person's motivation and you put it together like you're baking a cake. You put all the ingredients in the bowl and you start to stir it up. So you take the person's motivation and the qualified house and you put them in the bowl and you start talking about how you could buy this house. That's making an offer. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't make an offer until all of that happens. Unless, of course, you want to buy an ugly house and you're just going to talk about money. Like I'll give you 13 cents for a $5 house. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So none of that matters. I should say the paperwork doesn't matter until you go through all of that.
Sure.
By the way, the only 2 documents I carry with me with paperwork is an option agreement and a purchase and sales agreement. If it's a cash deal and I'm going to close within 30 days and I'm going to get hard money because I'm paying 13 cents on a $5 house, okay, then I sign a purchase and sales contract. If anything else, I sign an option agreement, even like a subject to deal. The subject to deal doesn't have an option agreement in it at all.
No, it's not an option. You're buying it.
But if I have them sign an option agreement, they feel like they signed something and they have a commitment. And then I go back with the other 6 documents and I say, fill this out. I don't even tell them anything about, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I take the option agreement, I put it in the back of the folder, and that's it. So when I leave there, I get them to say, give me an option to sell the house for whatever we agreed on. I got something signed in the house. That's all I do. It's not that hard. You type into Google option agreement. You'll go find one. Now, is it as good as mine? Probably not, but who cares? At least get something under contract. And then figure it out. Send me a support ticket. We'll figure it out.
Well, you mentioned last night at the meetup that years back you could do all the paperwork in one night in the first visit. And you feel lately that people are a little more skeptical. You know, there's too much YouTube and Facebook and Google. So you want to you go back a day or two later. Right. So here's the option. I'll be back in. How about Thursday? Come back and we'll finish the paperwork. So they get to relax a little bit. Nothing bad happens in the meantime. And if they have questions when you show up 2 days later, you can sort it out.
Peter, I have one document that when I'm selling a house, I could take multiple deposits. Do you know that in the realtor arena that's against the law?
Yeah.
This document cost me $6,000. Okay?
Yeah.
I have a rental document that cost me $3,500. I have an option agreement that cost me $2,000. Okay? All these documents are in my How to Buy Real Estate Without a Loan course.
And it costs you all that working with attorneys to get them to be the way they need to be, the way you want them.
I don't understand it because the $500 I charged for that course is worth less than one of my documents. If you actually had somebody that wanted to do a lease option with you or do a slot deal with you or anything like that other than a purchase and sales contract, any one of those, you're going to spend more than $500 to have your attorney actually make the document legal in your state. You're going to spend more than $500 figuring that out.
Yeah, because you can buy a package from someplace and it might not be good where you are.
Yeah. And these are good. I know because I have clients all over the country using them.
And these are good. These are like good generically then.
Yeah. We use them all over the country. All over the country.
Good.
So I don't get that part, but whatever. Okay. So you don't have to worry about the paperwork. You have to worry about paying the $500 for the course to learn how to do the paperwork. When it's time. You don't even have to do that until you get a deal.
No, just do one step at a time. These things are done every day by people who have about the same IQ and background that you do, so don't worry about it.
Exactly.
You just get to that point, and Bill's in the video explaining you sign this over here.
Yep.
And for the funny legal stuff, get a dictionary.
Yep.
And a simple glossary will explain the funny words.
Yep. Number 7, you worry way too much that you don't have the funds or capital to actually buy the house so that you can do what so many others talk about doing to convince themselves that this isn't for them. Right? Like, you were born on the wrong side of the tracks. I don't have any money, so I can't do real estate. Okay? That kind of stuff. You convince yourself.
Yeah, but that's why the late night TV shows used to have some homeless guy on the street of Detroit or Chicago buy a house over the weekend. That's why people didn't believe it. It was so extreme, but it could happen.
Right.
So it might have taken 15 guys to get that one guy to pull it, but they do it.
If you're going to buy an ugly house, that might be true. If you're going to buy pretty houses, that is not true.
Mm-hmm.
People will give you their houses. They will deed you a house and let the mortgage stay in their name. I've done it dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
I still remember the first time I was in a house with that kind of scenario. The guy had another house, a girlfriend, a business, another business out of state. He had to take a jet to go to that state to do that business. Didn't have time for renovation. The girlfriend was trying to renovate the house that the parents had left him that he couldn't care less about.
Right.
And it was a problem. You think a house is an asset? Sometimes it's just an ass.
Right.
It's just not something that you want. So he would have, I'll just pay the mortgage. Just I don't care. Just get it up. My girlfriend's getting pissed off at me now. Let's just stop. Right. I'm standing with my mouth open like, really?
Right.
He's losing $20,000 or $30,000 equity, but he couldn't care less.
Yep.
He was losing more than that by hanging out to this beast.
Yep.
When you find the right one, it's yes.
So people worry way too much about that.
Yeah.
The capital. If the reason why you're worried about capital is because you haven't educated yourself, you haven't gone to our free stuff page, you haven't seen the 7 different ways you can buy a house, and only 1 or 2 of them need money.
Hey, we all start out with nothing.
Yeah.
And how do we get something? You just make arrangements, make a deal.
Right.
Everybody's bought something on credit. You don't have a car. What do? I'll give you $200 and I'll pay $100 a week. You just do it. You start with nothing. You get something.
Right.
Houses are bigger, but it's the same idea.
Right. Number 8, strive to find time to actually do it. That's a big one.
Strive. That's a good word. I strive.
Strive to find time to actually do it. When time is there, they just so when they do actually find time to do it, they mismanage that time. Right? And then what happens is they don't do the right things and they waste that time. So really the problem with time is mismanagement of time. Mm-hmm. Really what the problem with time is that when you do allocate an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is a week to do it, you're not doing the things that will give you known and expected results. So the best thing you can do with your time is to go out and contact new people about real estate. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it will fall in play.
Yep.
Okay. So there's a whole podcast. Hang on a second. I'll tell you.
The time management one?
We did time. Yeah.
What's that one?
I should have looked this up. I didn't think about it, to be honest with you.
Well, while you're looking, I have a technique that I use that I've done in some of my businesses. If you have like 10 steps that you have to do to get to a product done, I don't start at the beginning. If I can get something at the end, like there's been some prep and something's toward the end, I start there to get that through. Right. And then I go like, well, I got something at step 7 that's been dangling. I try to take that through. You can always start at the beginning, but why? When you have things that might be further along the pipeline.
They're prepared more.
Yeah, it's like, we have this house that is almost closed. We need a lien paper. Like, I call you up Monday, we talk Monday, like, damn it, Bill, we got to do something. Right. Anything. Just get that done. It's so close to the end. Why am I sending letters out?
So making sure you tie up loose ends, yeah.
Yeah, just the highest product that's almost done.
Episode number 145, Learning the Art of Making Time for Real Estate Investing. We cover that there explicitly. Mm-hmm. So episode number 145. Okay? Number 9. And this is a big one, Peter. It shouldn't be number 9, but I just did these randomly out of my head.
I think this should be all number 1.
Yeah. Expect 2 or 3 prospects a year. So people expect that 2 or 3 prospects a year are going to replace their already proven income that takes most people about 2,000 hours a year to make. So they actually think that having 2 or 3 prospects is going to replace that income that takes them 2,000 hours a year to make.
Are they thinking that each prospect will be a close?
Because what happens, every one of my coaching clients, what happens is they call me up and they tell me about this deal, and they've already done the deal, closed the deal, spent the money, and they're out the other end looking to do the next deal.
Yeah.
And they haven't even closed. They haven't even had the conversation with the first customer. They haven't done the next step.
Well, wishful thinking, I guess. I mean, there's thinking positive and there's thinking, I don't know, crazy.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So you need more than 2 or 3 prospects. You need 2 or 3 prospects a week, not a year. So bottom line is they don't have enough prospects, which brings me to number 10. They don't make enough offers. Or they're making very little, not enough, and expect everyone to close. Right? They're not thinking with, I have a 30% closing ratio, so that means I got to talk to 10 people to do 3 deals. So if you're, which by the way, I've named, it takes about 15, when you're in the beginning, you need to do about 15 offers, nose to nose, toe to toe, in somebody's house before you get close or actually buy a house. Okay? Now, Kiyosaki says he makes 100 offers to buy a house, but that's using ugly houses. That's not sitting in a house. That's not doing creative financing, and that's not doing any of the pre-screening that we're talking about.
That's like, to me, it's like shotgun.
Yeah, to all that is
like take a gun, shoot up in the air, maybe hit a bird.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so you just don't make enough offers. So the only reason why you don't have a house right now is because you have not contacted enough new people and made enough offers. That's all it is. It's not your education. It's not whether you know how to do deal structuring. It's not your time. It's not any of that stuff. If you just sat in 1 house a week or 2 houses a week, that could be done any night or on a Saturday or a Sunday, anywhere. You could, if you just made 1 offer a week and did 4 a month, you would buy a house, at least 1 a quarter.
Yeah, within 3 months, that would be almost 15.
Right.
And that's work. And you watch these shows. I did the flip.
Don't show any of that.
I did the flipping show, right, with your daughter Jessie.
Right.
And 6 days of filming, and it was a 17-minute show, and the house started, the house ended, we made $50,000. It was yours, so you got it. Right. But real life is not quite like that.
Right.
That's why it's okay to, as you go down the road, maybe work on some holding properties and cash flow, so there's some flow going in life. But otherwise, you're working. Right. So my suggestion with all your things, push the front end.
Yeah.
Right? Push the front end.
And that's what I talk about all the time, because if you push your marketing and you push your all that stuff, then deals will just start coming in. Now you can't ignore the fact that people are calling you and saying, I have a house for sale. What do you want to do?
And you'll start stinking less talking to them.
Right.
You'll start smelling a little better.
Number 11, feel there are closely guarded secrets with folks like me who have done hundreds of properties and are not getting the information without paying the big bucks for it. Now, that's not the case with me. This podcast releases more information than most paid courses.
One of your students who was with some other guys, I didn't even know who they are, so I'm not holding, I just know, said, you buy something and there's just like this huge piece that's missing. Oh, you got to buy the next one. That misses the next piece, then you got to buy the next one. And he says, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just tell me how much it is and I'll buy it. Don't gouge me, and I'll just give it to me.
Right.
So it's like first grade, second grade, third grade. Oh, we got high school now, then it's college, and we're
right.
Ouch.
Right.
But he said, just check Bill's stuff out. You got the whole thing. The paperwork's there, how to buy it, how to sell it. You're not going to be professional until you practice. Right. You can read more books. You can read motivational books, books.
That's what the coaching's for. The coaching's to help implement it. But there are many people that don't go into coaching that have bought houses. But those are not people that are they're looking just for extra income. They want to make an extra $5-10 grand or $30 grand in a year. They want to do one house and that's it. They're not looking to make it a business and turn it into something big.
Oh, geez, just adding a house or 2 a year. Yeah, geez. I've run to the guy who spends 5 years buying one house and renting it, spends 5 years buying a second house, renting it. By the time he's 65, he's got 5 houses fully paid, so he's got a couple $1 million of assets. Not a terrible model, but we're talking faster money than that. But worst case scenario, just build something and you have something that's sitting there for you.
Exactly.
Cash flow, equity.
Number 12, they're skeptical of what others are telling them when looking to learn the ins and outs the process works. So let's say you're listening to me right now, and I'm giving you very pragmatic, very real, very true advice.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you listen to me, the more you know that it's true. And that's what sustained us this long with all these podcasts and all the training and everything we do, because I get a lot of people that come say to me, I listened to episode blah, 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 blah podcast. And it's like, and I had this deal and it worked exactly the way you what you said was almost like the podcast was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because exactly what you say is exactly what happened. So, our observation is not any we're not like geniuses or anything like that. We just observe it and we're sharing it with other people.
Yeah, but you're not talking about if this happened, you might try this and this could work and that could work. You're talking about what you've already done many times, and your coaching students, for me or anybody, have already done. Right. This isn't like ideas and theories. This is done.
So who are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to us that have done deals, or are you going to listen to your wife that's bitching at you because your credit card bill is $10,000 and she doesn't want you to spend the money? Mm. Or your father who did a real estate deal when he was 20 years old and he's 70 now and he's on Social Security and can't afford to pay his bills, no offense, and he's telling you that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's all. Or you go to a RIA meeting, a real estate investment club, and you have some guy standing up in front of the room and telling you how to do this specific thing, like buy tax liens. Mm. And then next month you go up there and it's some guy telling you, you got to do asset protection. Mm-hmm. And then you got some other guy next month that goes up there and he tells you, you got to build a team. You should have a lawyer and you should have realtors and here's software that you can do that with. Right? And all that stuff is good, and I'm not knocking it. Well, I am knocking it because it's not what you need first. Mm. It's out sequence. Mm-hmm. You need to do is contact a new person.
You told me that. I mean, I had all these puzzle pieces after a weekend training with the wife years ago. And like, where the hell do we start? Mm-hmm. It's all these puzzle pieces. Like, I couldn't even find the corners and the edges. Right. Where's all the blue ones for the sky? And you said, do A, B, C. But okay.
Right.
And I just did A, B, C. And I called you 10 days later, 2 weeks, like, Bill, I got a house to look at.
Right. So in today's world, Emma's taught me an amazing lesson. Yeah. Because when Emma goes and buys something online, she's always looking at the reviews. And I'm thinking, what's up with that? Well, what I realized not long ago, actually when I was on vacation, is the reason why people look at reviews is because they're skeptical. They want to see what other people are saying about the results. They're trying to figure out if whatever it is, whether it's mail, like yesterday I bought mailing labels on Amazon. It's like, so they were $9.05. But I look at the reviews because I want to know, are they going to ship them? And are they, when they come in, are they good for $9? Mm-hmm. Because too many people are scamming too many people and they get the wrong mailing labels. And it's not even that the $9 is a problem. It's just that
you want the
it's
labels.
Annoying because you wait for them and now you get the labels.
You need labels.
And you're like trying to, predict with what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And then you get the labels and they're wrong.
Yeah. My kid taught me that a couple of years ago because he's, the youngster. And why should they trust some marketing company, some corporation? Corporations are evil. Right. So they trust each other. If some other guy his age said it's good.
Which is worse than trusting a corporation, but we won't go there. All right. Number 13. You make excuses like I don't have money or time to actually invest in themselves, so they get outside of their world that isn't producing what they want, and they learn other ways. So what that means is that you don't invest in yourself. Oh. So the reason for reading books is not for the information all the time, because books are not, unless it's a textbook or a college book, it's not made for information. What the books do is it gives you a perspective of how somebody else is doing something you might be interested in. Mm-hmm. It's a viewpoint from a different angle. So like if you read one of my books, and we have at this point plenty of them, 2 or 3 of them anyways, and I've got 2 or 3 more coming. If you read my books, all you're getting, or you listen to this podcast, what you're getting is my perspective of how I would do a lease option or how I would talk to a customer. And if it's not something you've done before, then it's exciting. Mm-hmm. If it's something that you have done before, you might get a different perspective of how it works. The point that I'm trying to make here, and you brought this up several podcasts, is that if you're not reading books, you're not outside your own world, and you're not happy with what you're doing. Unless you are happy, then you don't have to do this. And I don't understand how somebody could stay the same anyways, because either something's growing or shrinking. So I don't know why you shouldn't. But you should get out there and contact more people, because if you contact, and that's a way of contacting people, is you're reading a book. So you're contacting somebody new, right? And you could constantly get a different viewpoint or talk to people and learn things.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you are one of those people that have trouble reading, okay? And if you're one of those people that you read a book and then you get into it for 5 or 10 or 20 pages and you put the book down and you don't pick it back up, that's for an exact reason. Yeah. Okay? And if you're one of those people that fall asleep when you're reading, you use a book to read at night and you end up falling asleep, that's for an exact reason. If you're one of those people that get to the bottom of a page and you don't remember what you read, that's for an exact reason.
How about you read one sentence or one paragraph, you just don't get it.
Right.
I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. I don't understand what this means.
So you evaluate that the author or the person writing the book is not correct, and you move on thinking that you're going to find something else.
It's too
really
hard.
Was you.
It's confusing. He doesn't make sense.
For all those people, go buy this book. It's called The Power of Words, written by Sean Clouden. It's Sean Clouden. It's on Amazon. The Power of Words. I've had many of my students and coaching clients that read it, and they rave about it, because it's like I opened up their world. I didn't write the book. I just read it many years ago. I know what the technology is that's in it, and it's just amazing. Yeah. So it's The Power of Words by Sean Clouden, and then you'll be able to actually read and understand and apply.
Yeah, especially contracts and
right.
the hard things that may be harder. What does option really mean? You know, I mean, you want to hear a funny one?
Yeah.
Real estate.
Quickly.
What does real mean?
Something that's there.
Not in this case.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
We thought of it. It means royal.
Right.
Royal estate, because only rich people had real estate.
Right.
So it comes from royalty.
Right.
And everybody goes, oh, it means it's real. And it's a different meaning entirely. Does it matter that much? No, but you have the correct meaning at least. Now, sometimes it might really matter and you get the wrong meaning. You're screwed.
Right.
So that's a powerful book. Use it.
Yes. 14. Believe when they are, I'll give that to you again. Believe when they try a proven system, it doesn't work, that the person supplying the process, which I just talked about, is wrong, and the dilettante or the amateur reading it, okay, is right. And never even look to see if maybe they had some misunderstanding or they didn't understand, or the materials they were reading was a problem with them instead of the materials, and they don't even know this, and they think the trainer is bad or not doing good or trying to put one over on them, and they move on.
Yeah.
They don't qualify their own way of educating themselves. They think they're right and the trainer's wrong. And they don't make sure that they go get books like we just talked about, which is The Power of Words, and they make sure that it's not some manifestation that they're creating when they read or they do something. Like you said with real estate, the definition, if you don't know the definition of the word, then you could definitely go astray if you don't have the definition of a word. I'll give you a classic example that we talk about all the time. The word option.
Oh, yeah.
Go look up the word option. You have an option. It's like it's used so many different ways that you could get confused. Now, I mean, if you've been listening to if you've been listening more than one or two of these podcasts and you haven't looked up the word option, then you probably don't understand what we were talking about, because it has a very specific meaning in real estate. It's not an English word per se. It's a very specific use legally.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to make sure you understand that.
Yeah, and I've seen that. I'm teaching my students go, this doesn't make sense. This is stupid. Like, no, what does that mean? Oh, you clear it up. You go, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
But they thought the book was stupid and they were smarter than the book. Now, books are usually right, not always.
Yeah.
So don't bow down to books. Make sure it's straight, but make sure you got what it says.
Yeah. So, make sure that you understand it. Last one, number 15, neglect to use the 80-20 rule.
Oh, yeah.
20% of your activity gives you 80% of what you really want or need. Instead, most do the 80% stuff and complain about how shitty their life is and is contaminated by their environment. And they don't even know what they can do. They don't even know that's happening.
Yep.
So
Well, it's easier to do the 80%.
right,
And sometimes more fun.
right,
And sometimes that's the reason you're doing the 20%, so you can do more of the 80%. But you got to do more of the hard stuff for the important stuff, so you can do more of the fishing, smoking cigars, playing guitar things,
Right.
vacation. You got to work your butt off a little to get that.
So the 20. So if you start time blocking, like we talked about, that you can do from earlier, we talked about the episode in episode 145. If you start talking about doing time blocking, then you don't need to do it full time if you're really good and strict about doing the 20%.
The important stuff that gets you
Right.
the job done, the
And
products
one of the
you want.
most important things that you could do is contact new people and tell them that you buy and sell real estate.
You know what I do sometimes? I forgot to do it. I write out all the crap I got to do today. I take a highlighter and go, that's the important ones.
Right.
Click, click.
Right.
That's the ones I really, really got to do.
Right.
So when you don't have your time blocking in, you do that like, please do this for myself today.
Or even when you do your to-do tasks, just put 20% and 80%.
Yeah.
Make a list
Yeah.
for each one.
Yes. I have categorized in weird ways, like when I'm here, when there's stuff in the house, this
No,
business.
Pete, you being weird?
Yeah.
Not possible.
No, another definition.
No way.
Not that definition.
Oh,
different than
here we
usual.
go.
Definition
Oh,
3. Different than usual.
Oh, okay.
Take the dictionary.
So you're different than usual?
No, my list is not me.
I'm busting your chops.
Keep trying.
All right, so.
War of words. Hey, do you realize most comedy is play on words?
Oh, totally.
It's screwing around with words and,
Right.
and humor and all that. So words are important. We do everything with words unless you do this bing, 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 with your head once in a while.
Yep. If it's not in writing, it's not true. All right, so that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it today. I am begging, I am pleading, I'm scratching, I'm yelling from the top of the tallest building that I can find. Please, 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 please go give us a review. Some of the reviews have been amazing. We have learned a lot from them. At least I have anyway. So please go to iTunes and give us a review. I prefer to be on iTunes because that's the biggest platform. But if you have other platform that you're listening to, then please give us a review. And if you give us a review and you send me a support ticket and tell me where you put the review, then we will. I have a new book that I just came out with, which I don't have the name of the title. I don't have it in front of me. But I will send you a copy of the book. How do I know I paid a fair price for my investment property or for investment property? That's the name of the book. Thank you, Emma. You would think I would remember that, but obviously I've got three books written, and I've got three or four more that I'm working on, so I get the titles confused. Anyways, please go give us a review. Please, please, please. That's my ethical bribe. I don't care even if you give me a bad review, I'll still send you the book because then I can learn from it and we can change these shows. Mm-hmm. If you've been fortunate enough to be with us all 150 shows, you know that in the beginning it sucked. It was staticky. We didn't know what we were doing. We had shitty comment. That was before Emma. We had shitty content. We used to joke around and horse around and not even deliver content. And we used to we used
to make it up as we went. We wing it. I think you had a title maybe. We went from there. And I just followed you.
Yeah, and people complain that it takes too long to get to the content, that we were goofing around. All that is gone. All that's been fixed because we read your reviews.
Yeah. And tell us what you want to hear about in your reviews. Yeah. What can we help you with? What do you want to hear less of, more of? Just tell us what you need. So
please give us reviews. The last thing I want to say is flippinghousesforrookies.com. They are our sponsor. I happen to own it, but that is our sponsor. We've done 154 shows. I have no commercials, no anything other than just our own materials. That's the purpose of it. We're not here to sell you anything, but people ask for it, so we bring it up and tell you where to go find it.
Yeah, everything that we have is because people at meetings and before the start is like, please, can you show me how you do such and such? Like, I just told you, yeah, but you got to show me. Like, I need the details. Can we have a workshop? Can you make a video? So all these are in response to people's requests for the assistance. It's not like we dream it up out of the blue.
Right. Yeah. So I developed these courses for, and I realized this after the meetup last night. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and we're out here. I developed these courses for the opposite reason that most people develop courses.
That sounds weird, but keep going.
So most people are like, I want to go in the online business and I want to make money online, and they go try to figure out what they could sell the person.
Yeah.
I did it because I had so many people asking me, how do you do this and how do you do that? I wanted to get it off my plate so I didn't have to tell 100,000 people how I do it.
Every
And
time.
I'm exaggerating, but yeah, if I had to do it 10 times a week, say, here's how I do it, it was getting annoying. It was a waste of my time. I wasn't able to flip houses and do my business.
Well, worse than that, you're repeating yourself, and that's
Right.
a waste of time. Now Bill says, watch my video.
Yeah. And so the products that we have and the courses we have are me answering those questions because people kept asking me how to do that. The How to Buy Real Estate Without a Loan was designed for an employee to teach them how to replace me. That's what it was designed for. I made that to like replace myself.
That's your hat write-up.
Yeah.
That's your job description.
And it's like, there you go. That's what it was designed for. I mean, it turned into a marketing thing and all that other stuff later. I mean, Jesus Christ, Peter. What is, will they talk about it? Oh my God, I just went blank. The little blue pill.
Viagra?
Viagra. Viagra was not designed to do
right.
that. It was
Blood pressure?
Yeah,
It was blood pressure.
It was something else,
and some men really liked it.
and not and
Some
it
wives
was
really liked
creating the side effect of helping men. That was like the the side effect.
The accidental side effect. Oh, look.
And so whatever they invented the pill for, so for hearts or whatever
I think it's blood pressure.
whatever they invented it for was not making them any money, so they turned it into a sex pill.
Yeah.
And now it's like everybody knows what Viagra is. I mean, my old man was 81 years old, and his best joke was, I took a Viagra this afternoon and got stuck in my throat, so now I got a stiff neck.
Oh, crap.
That was his best joke.
Oh,
that was
boy.
his best joke. Okay,
That's-
so this is kind of like that. It's
Makes
like
me feel funny.
our courses are not Viagra, but it was like the side effect. It was a side effect of us just going out and doing the meetups and having a radio show.
It was a natural result.
Right.
It was really very, very natural. I mean, I remember seeing a guy in our audience virtually on the tears coming out of his eyes. Like, I really want to do this. Can you show me? Like once a month we had a meeting.
Right.
So we put a weekend together of training, and that became one of our first offerings for people. So other people get it too. But he was just about in tears.
Right.
Literally.
So go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. It's there for you. Use it, abuse it, do whatever you got to do. If you think you got a deal, you got something, top right-hand side of the website says contact us. That gets a support ticket right to me. If you go read my reviews, you'll see that people actually are amazed that I actually answer the support tickets. With all that said, Peter, I want to tell everybody thank you for all of our support, all the support they give us. Thank you for everything they do. We're at 154 shows. I'm extremely proud that we've done 154 shows on the same content, not the same thing, but we talk about creative real estate. We've had no guest speakers. We've had no sponsors. It's just you and I talking about our deals, and I find that exhilarating for us to be able to deliver all that content as well as our listeners, because nowadays we're right to the point. We make sure you get lots of information, and we're here to help. With that said, we're over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.